Hello everyone, and welcome to the CB&Q in Wyoming. I'm Mark Pruitt. Today is June 3rd, 2020, and this is construction update number 7. I decided to go counterclockwise around the room today, just for a change of pace. Did I confuse you? I'll bet, with how different things look around here this month, I did. Obviously, we got quite a bit done, so after this little tour is over, let's get into it. Here's a bit of the opening video from last month, just to remind you that we only had about 1/4 of the sheetrock up. So we continued right on with sheetrocking, slowly working our way around the room. On May 2nd, I hired an electrician to run power from the train room back to the main panel. I should have put that in last month's update, but I forgot. But with most of the sheetrock installed, it was time to put in some real lighting. Those bare bulbs in the ceiling just weren't cutting it. So by May 11th, I had the first LED panel temporarily installed. I had it on a simple on-off switch for starters, but that would quickly change. On May 13th, I installed the dimmer switches for train room lighting. I recorded the work and made this way too long video clip of it for you to sit through. First thing was to connect the neutral wires together. They don't go to the switches, so they're easy. Strip and a wire nut. Then I started connecting each wire in turn to the dimmer. Uh-oh, where's that utility knife? I need to cut away a bit more of the wire sheathing. Stripping wire is really easy. I've got a great wire stripper. It's made by Klein Tools and will strip anything from 22 gauge to 10 gauge wire. I don't remember where I got them. And now it's just a matter of working my way from one connection to the next. These are the 0 to 10 volt type dimmers, so I started on 120 volt connections first. Isn't this fun? Finally, the last 120 volt connections, the ground wires. Now let's stuff some of these wires into the box. I hope there will be enough room left for the switches. How about a quick test? Hooray! The lights turn on and off, and I didn't even electrocute myself. It's a miracle! Now let's move on to the dimmer connections. Only 2 of these on each dimmer, so it should be simple. And it's time to test the dimmer. It works! And this is how an old fart guy celebrates. Now let's see if we can stuff everything else into the box. Oops, that was upside down. Yes, it all fits. Let's play with it a bit, shall we? And in the distance, we can see that the switches are in with the cover plate on and a light is on. It took about an hour to install the dimmers. I cut the video down to about 2.5 minutes, and that was probably still too long, wasn't it? Installing the lights took about an hour each, including cutting the mounts, wiring, and installing each one. By the next day, I had 1 row of lights almost fully installed. Then it was time to tackle wiring changes to the existing basement lights. I no longer needed them in the train room, but I did need them in the rest of the basement. They would need to be able to be controlled not only from the bottom of the stairs, but also from the yet-to-be-built library doorway and near the train room dimmers. So I needed to replace the simple on-off switch, the one in the left in this photo, with a 3-way switch. I took one look at this mess of wires and cringed. This looked as bad as the underside of a lot of layouts I've seen. So since it was getting late in the afternoon anyway, I did what any sensible person would do and put it off until tomorrow. Good thing too. Overnight my subconscious wrestled with this mess of wiring, and the next morning I had a clear plan of attack. 2 hours of work and I had functional lights that could be controlled from the bottom of the stairs and from next to the train room dimmers. The library doorway switch will be added when the library doorway is. So with that wiring change completed, we finished the last remaining sheetrock on the wall next to the stairs. And by May 24th, train room lighting looked like this. There's still 3 panels to install, but those will have to wait until I can get the ever-present pile of stuff out of the middle of the room. I also need to order 2 more. I was able to hire a guy to do the taping and mudding, and most importantly the sanding, and on May 26th he got started. Here on the 27th, corner bead is being installed on the far window. You can't tell from this view, but about 1/3 of the seams have already been taped as well. And here's the guy I hired, Aaron, diligently working on an inside corner. I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. 3 days later, it's all done but the final sanding. He did that the next day on the 31st. Yes, that's a Sunday. He had another job starting Monday and wanted to wrap up. All I can really say is he did excellent work at a very fair price. I am more than pleased. So Monday, the 1st of June, after all the dust had overnight to settle, I went into the basement and saw dust all over the floors. Aaron had cleaned up the dust around the walls, but he didn't clean the rest of the floor, and I didn't expect him to. A couple hours with my shop vac with a fine dust filter in it, and I had it all cleaned up. And it's time to prime. By Monday evening, still the 1st, with a lot of help from my wife, the entire train room was primed for painting. On June 2nd, we put on the first coat of the final wall color. This is called Indian Red. Trim will be bronze green. Those were the standard colors of Burlington structures during the era I model. My wife isn't overly thrilled with the color, but I think by the time it's done, it will look pretty good. The second and hopefully final coat will go on either today or tomorrow. And we are up to date. What a huge change in the room this month. I'm getting really excited. I can see the finish line. In a few days I'll be cutting trim and painting it bronze green. That will be a big job, but after I have the side of the wall near the stairs done, we'll start installing flooring as well. Those 2 things will take us into July, I'm pretty sure. After that, maybe these updates will start being about a model railroad and not so much about basement refinishing. And with that, thanks for watching everyone. Stay healthy and I'll see you next month.